Definitely, I'm moving actively around my city. Since I love to do sports, I'm just either jogging all the time or I just walk and give me a nice walk around the city. I love strolling around the city in the parks, for example.
Living in a city that makes walking and cycling the easy choice means I get to be actively mobile every time I leave my house.
Active mobility in Ho Chi Minh City, so that's the walking. Especially when I walk in the park because I can feel the fresh air and it's good for my health and I can meet my friends or some, a lot of tourists, in Ho Chi Minh City. That's wonderful.
I'm very active because in a city you have to first be very mobile. You have to move from place to place, whether it's for pleasure, work, just for all reasons. Especially after coming out of quarantine, we are in search of this mobility and interaction.
To move consciously, that I can just park my motorbike in somewhere and then just go and walk in and do exercise. Yeah.
And in terms of conscious mobility, what that means to me is being able to be a part of the social fabric of the city that I live in, feeling a part of the community, getting to meet with strangers, people I know, and interact with the world around me. And to me, that's one of the most important things of living in a conscious city and one that allows for all mobilities for all people.
And then now that I understand the conscious part of it, we're actually including why I like Berlin and why I like Mexico City. So this consciousness in this way has to do with social interactions. It has to do with community, and the community building is very important, at least for me.
Ben.
Hello, I'm Sarah.
We're from Sydney, Australia. And what moves us consciously in Berlin is the amazing world-class public transport.
The M8, my best friend.
The M8, the main. It's so fast and so efficient, and there's always plenty of it. The entire city is covered. That's what moves us consciously in Berlin.
Is a really important factor for my well-being, and the simple reason is mobility is the basis for everything. I need a good infrastructure.
Before the pandemic, I was a big fan of public transportation, and I hope to eventually be able to get back on it with a good feeling.
Mobility is one of the most critical influencers of my well-being. For example, traffic, noise, pollution, lack of space in parking, all these things cause stress and are painful time wasters. For me, mobility means freedom.
But at the same time, of course, you need to be aware of the consequences.
Digitalization might soon help us make a sustainable decision once the rest is servers and automized. A good start to move consciously, unconsciously.
So the infrastructure and design of the city is going to make you experience it differently. It's going to make you discover it differently. So that would be the difference. Now, preferred, no, because I wouldn't come back to Berlin if I didn't like it. But I love Mexico as well.
For example, a nice neighborhood, mobility, flexibility, accessibility, safety, weather, or The geographical situation.
The whole geographic location of the city of Munich. So I love the mountains, I love the lakes.
It's primarily the look of the city, the architecture, the green spaces. And I also really like it when the city's on the water, as is the case with Munich, near the Isar.
So I need something green in order to relax.
I very much value green spaces. So being able to go to the green, having fresh air, or realizing sport activities outside. But I also very much value like a good social network.
Most important for myself is the variety of possibilities and the liveliness of people on the move.
Cultural aspects like theater, operas. I need new impulses, new ideas to enjoy. And last one is food. So I love the restaurants, the cafes here.
Having a high proximity to my daily activities. So being able to go to a restaurant, going to a bar, or going to a supermarket, and this ideally all within my own neighborhood or within an acceptable reach.
No cars and I like no bumps in the road, so I can go up and down, but also big hills, but not as big as a mountain. And so I can just go.
How about when you walk around the street in Bangkok? What do you like the most?
Mama.
Children, even young children, are very playful and curious in their interactions with the world around them and actively seek out stimulation and challenge.
Young children will be delighted when they see plants, trees, or other natural elements in the area. My 6-year-old daughter, for example, loves it when she bumps into cats or other young kids in the streets.
She reacts the most to the trees and the sky, and she interacts the most with the people in the street.
When traveling by foot, toddlers tend to interact with their caregivers, having conversations around their surroundings, observing others around them, and pointing out interesting sights and sounds.
In many cities, the basic transport infrastructure isn't set up for everyday walking or cycling with a small child. Even if there are sidewalks or cycle paths, they may not go to the destinations that this group needs. Their travel needs tend to be more local and neighbourhood-based.
When I walk in my neighborhood with my baby in a stroller, the challenges I face are the noises of the streets, the honking of the cars, the police sirens, the loud motorcycles, as well as the fact that the sidewalks are too thin.
Where we live, there are many high-rise condos, malls, and shops. However, there are just no public parks in the area, only private playgrounds and pools within each condos, so it's really hard to interact with other kids or families in the neighborhood.
With the high density of vehicles on the roads, the lack of bike lanes and the lack of awareness in drivers makes cycling with toddlers a dangerous mode of mobility.
To make the trip easier, I would start by changing the attitudes and cultures of drivers to give the right-of-way to pedestrians, especially caregivers with very young children.
There needs to be a distinct shift in the narrative around how changes in infrastructure or speed limits benefit all road users. This is also tied to the perception of who owns the road.
I listen to the heart and I feel the breeze. In and out. This is the movement. This is the rhythm of life.